We both loved the Senate. Proudest years of my life for being a United States Senator. And I was honored to be Vice President, but being a United States Senator. And we both lamented watching it change. During long debates in the 80s and 90s, as some of the colleagues who were around then would know, I'd always go over and sit next to John, next to his seat. Or he'd come over on the Democratic side and sit next to me. No, I'm not joking. Because we'd sit there and we'd talk to each other. And I can remember the day when I came out to see John, we reminisced about it. It was in '96. And we were about to adjourn for what we call the caucuses. There's a luncheon once a week that all the Democratic senators have lunch together and all the Republican senators. And we both went into our caucus, and coincidentally, we were approached by our caucus leaders with the same thing. It was raised as a discussion. Joe, it doesn't look good you sit next to John all the time on there. Swear to God. Same thing was said to John in your caucus. That's when things began to change for the worse in America, in the Senate. That's when it changed. What happened was, at those times, it was always appropriate to challenge another senator's judgment, but never appropriate to challenge their motive. When you challenge their motive, it's impossible to get to go. If I say you're doing this because you're being paid off, if I say you're doing this because you're not a good Christian, if I say you're doing this because you're this, that, or other thing, it's impossible to reach consensus. Think about it in your personal lives. But all we do today is attack the oppositions of both parties, their motives, not the substance of their argument. This is the mid-90s. Well, it began to go downhill from there. The last day, John was on the Senate floor. What was he fighting to do? He was fighting to restore what we call regular order, to start to treat one another again like we used to. Senate was never perfect, John. You know that. We were there a long time together. But I'd watch Teddy Kennedy and James O. Eastland fight like hell on civil rights, and they'd go have lunch together down in the Senate dining room. John wanted to see, quote, regular order writ large, get to know one another. You know, John and I were both amused, and I think Lindsay was at one of these events where John and I received two prestigious awards. The last year I was vice president, and then one immediately after, for our dignity and respect we showed to one another. We received an award for civility in public life. There's a college, Allegheny County college puts out this prestigious award every year for bipartisanship. And John and I look at each other and say, what in the hell's going on here? No, not a joke. I say to Senator Flake, that's how it's always supposed to be. You're getting an award? No, I'm serious. Think about this. Getting an award for your civility. Getting an award for bipartisanship. In classic John, the one at Allegheny College, there were hundreds of people there, and we got the award. And John, the Senate was in session, and so he spoke first. And as he walked off the stage and I walked on, he looked at me and said, Joe, don't take it personal, but I just don't want to hear what the hell you have to say. And left.